In this tutorial, we are going to learn exactly how to make this 3D printed barrel within Fusion 360. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into Fusion and get started. So the first thing we need to do here is to create a new component. Let's hover over to the left-hand side, click on Create, New Component, and let's go ahead and name this to Barrel. Press OK. From here, what we want to do is to create a sketch. We're going to go ahead and click on Create Sketch, then select the front plane, and then it's going to reorient us to the front. From here, we need to create a sketch on the right-hand side. To do that, we're going to press L on our keyboard, or we can hover over to the line section here. By clicking the line command here, we can go ahead and draw from the center and draw it right out to the right-hand side. From here, you should see two values appear, and you can toggle tab on your keyboard to switch between the two. The first value we're going to set is the distance one. We're going to go ahead and set this to 40 millimeters, while the degrees will be set to 0. Click once on your mouse, and then Fusion is going to prompt you to create another sketch. Let's go ahead and set the distance here to 75, and then set the degrees to 95. Once that's done, let's go ahead and finish this off by closing it off to the left-hand side, then closing off this profile, and now we have a fully sketched out profile for our design. The next thing we need to do here is to create these small lips that actually revolve around the cylinder. To do that, let's go ahead and zoom in. And to start, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. I'm also going to make sure this line also has this right angle feature shown right in the center there. Make sure that's toggled on. Click your mouse, then drag it all the way down, then to the left. Do your very best to match it up as much as you can. Now with that done, we also need to make sure that this line here, if I were to press escape, we need to make sure that this line here matches up with this line here. To do that, we're going to be using the parallel constraint shown on the top menu portion here. Selecting this line here, then this line. Now this line is completely parallel to this line here, and that's what we're looking for. Now if you press D on your keyboard, we're going to go ahead and set some dimensional values for this thing here. We're going to set the value from here to here, around 1 millimeter. Pressing D once again, selecting the bottom to the top, clicking, this is going to be 7 millimeters. Once that's done, let's go on and repeat the exact same process by creating one up top and then one above that. Let's go ahead and create one more at the very top, and it doesn't matter where the placement is. All we're doing is just setting them down. We'll go ahead and dimension this later on. Now from here, you should have a total of 3 lines here, or 3 roundabouts that go around here. Now, one cool thing about Fusion 360 is that you can actually reference different dimensions and use them for other pieces that you're trying to dimension. So for example, if we're to press D on our keyboard and then select this line here, we can actually select the value at the bottom, and then it's going to take the reference from this value and apply it here. So if this were to change to a different value like 9, the top will also change as well. To undo anything you may have changed or modified, you can just press Command Z. Let's also apply the exact same thing to the top one on the very top, selecting the line to the right, then typing in this value here. Press OK. Let's also make sure these lines that we've created, they're parallel to the line on the left-hand side. And if this error pops up here, that means it's already constrained. So we're already good to go. From here, let's go ahead and press D on our keyboard. Select the line here to here. Drag it out. And then we can also select this value here. Once again, pressing D on our keyboard. Here to here. Drag it out. Selecting this value or the value here. The next thing we need to do here is to make sure these are evenly spaced. To do that, let's go ahead and add a value from here to here, and I'll leave this around 10 millimeters. Next, let's also add one more at the very bottom, and then type in 10. Once that's done, you should basically have a profile with 3 smaller profiles here on the right-hand side. To finish this up, we're going to use this feature called Mirror. Now, this feature allows us to mirror these sketches on the left-hand side within the sketch environment. To do that, what we're going to do is press S on our keyboard. This brings up the Sketch Shortcuts menu within Fusion 360, and then type in Mirror. From here, you'll be presented with 2 options. First one shows it as a half-completed sketch, and this one shows like a profile. Click on the first one. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and select and double-click these lines here. We'll also select this one here and this one here. And then on the dialog box on the right-hand side, the mirror line will be chosen, which will be what is presented here. Now, I'll explain why this is important later on, but this is something that we will need to wrap around the entirety of our design. From here, let's go ahead and finish this off by clicking on Finish Sketch, then pressing S on our keyboard. This brings up the Design Shortcuts menu, and what we're going to do is press Revolve. Now, there's going to be 2 options that appear on the screen. What we want to do is select the first one. Now we want to select the profile, and as well as the 2, 3 profiles that we have here. Select the axis, and let's finish this off by selecting the middle axis. Once that's done, make sure the operation is set to New Body and press OK. Now with all that done, let's go ahead and finish this up by pressing S on our keyboard, typing in plane. And what we're going to do now is to create those little lines that appear within the center of the barrel. And these lines appear throughout the entire curvature of the barrel, so that way it gives it that rustic kind of wooden look. To start this, let's go ahead and select the face after selecting tangent plane. We're going to select this cylinder here. It's automatically going to populate a plane here. Since we cannot directly edit on a face that's curved, we need to go ahead and create a plane so we can actually start a sketch. To start this, let's press OK. Then click on Create Sketch, selecting the front plane, and then zooming right in so that way we get a better look. From here, what I'm going to do is to create a line from the center by pressing L on our keyboard, then selecting the origin and dragging it all the way above. Now, it doesn't matter how high you're dragging this. All we're doing is just setting the line above the cylinder itself. What we're going to do now is to create another one by pressing O on our keyboard, selecting the line, setting the distance to 1 millimeter, and press OK. Let's repeat the exact same thing on the other side, pressing O once again, selecting the line, typing in -1, and press OK. From here, what we're going to do is actually close this off into a profile. To do that, let's go ahead and close this off by pressing L on our keyboard, closing off these 2 dots at the bottom, and as well as the same exact thing on the top. Finish sketch once you're done. And now what we're going to do is press S on our keyboard, type in Emboss, and this allows us to select a profile that we just created and emboss it onto our cylinder. From here, we're going to select these 2 profiles that we just created, select the face. The face is the cylinder that we just made, and make sure the effect is set to Deboss. Set the depth to -1 millimeters and press OK. With that done, we can go ahead and toggle our component, toggle on sketches, then turn off sketch 2. From here, you can see we still have our profile shown on the right-hand side, plus this newly created emboss that we created for the product. Now, don't worry, we're going to go ahead and wrap this around the entirety of our design. And to do that, what we're going to do is press S on our keyboard, type in circular pattern. Then from here, you can see a dialog box show up here. The next thing we need to do here is select the object type to features. By selecting features, this allows us to select one of the features within our timeline and use this as a reference or what we want to copy. The axis is going to be selected, and then we're going to select the top edge shown on this cylinder here. We can also select the bottom or the top, it doesn't matter. But what we want to do is just increase the quantity shown on the left-hand side here. And then by doing this, we can go ahead and increase this, and more of these lines start to populate. I'm going to go ahead and add 10 and press OK. Once that's done, turn off our sketch. And as you can see, we have the lines all around our barrel here. If you're not happy with the amount of lines you've added, you can go ahead and double click on the circular pattern once again, You can also decrease the value or the quantity to get your desired look. From here, we need to go ahead and turn on Sketch 1 once again. Then we're going to use the revolve feature to revolve this all around. To do this, we're going to press S, type in revolve, and then what we're going to do is going to turn off our bodies for now. From here, we're going to go ahead and zoom right in, select this profile, then this one, and as well as the two on the bottom. Then we're going to turn our bodies back on, select the axis. The axis we're going to select is the Z axis, and then we're going to set the operation to join and press OK. Now, if you turn off Sketch 1, now the reason why we did this is because if we added the lines here after we added this revolve here on this side that goes along the barrel, you would have a cut inside in the middle here. So we added this thereafter so that way we can have it wrap around without having a hole in the middle here. To finish this off, we're going to go ahead and press S on our keyboard, type in shell, and then we can go ahead and select the top face here. We can shell this in to, let's just say, around 3 millimeters. And we can also set the shell type to rounded shell. Additionally, you can also increase the inside thickness to, let's just say, 5. That way you get a little bit more of a solid look here. You can play around with these values to get a desired look. Once you're happy with the look, press OK. And now what we can do is add some color to this to give it a little bit more style. To do that, press A on your keyboard. Then let's go ahead and select the appearance tab that shows on the right-hand side. Let's search within library and type in brown. Then selecting the matte feature here, drag it onto our bodies. Now we have a brown sort of shell, a brown sort of color within our barrel shown here. Additionally, if you also want to add color here, you can also set the faces, add the color to wherever you want to add it. And now we're giving this thing a little bit more color and design and features. Now with your design nearly complete, the next thing we need to do here is to add a chamfer underneath here. The reason why is because if we were to 3D print this, this would require supports, and we're trying to minimize or not use supports at all. To do this, we're going to press S on our keyboard, type in chamfer, then we're going to select these edges here. We're also going to set the value to, let's just say, 1 millimeters, and that way this curves along the edge, giving it a nice 45-degree angle, so we don't need any sort of supports for our 3D printed design. To export this to your slicer, hover over to Bodies, right-click Body 1, save as Mesh, then go ahead and open it up within your Print Utility menu here, press OK, and by default, Bamboo Studio will automatically open up this design ready to go and ready to be 3D printed. But I do have to mention this will be without the color as I already pre-colored it before I started this video. So with that said, we pretty much wrapped up today's tutorial, and in this tutorial, we pretty much completed how to design this 3D printable barrel within Fusion 360. Feel free to print this out, see how it turns out, and feel free to tag me on social media if you guys enjoyed this file and design. Also, if you want to get access to more tutorials and resources just like this, feel free to check out the link below where you can join the 14-day challenge showing you exactly how to design more 3D printable designs just like this for 3D printing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.